Yo, how's it going everyone? It's me, it's Jinsula. I hope you're having a good day and welcome to today's Pokemon Go video. Alright, so currently in Pokemon Go, we have the Bug Out event. And in celebration of that event, I wanted to talk about what I believe is the most underrated type in Pokemon Go. And that is, of course, the bug typing. This is a type of Pokemon that I believe a lot of people tend to overlook, mainly because a vast majority of bug types tend to be trash Pokemon, which you only farm up for the basic resources. However, I do think there are a lot of standouts when it comes to the bug typing, which when you invest into them, you're going to get ahead in PvP and PvE content. I'll get more into those standouts later, but first let's talk about the strengths and weaknesses of bug types. First and foremost, there are 3 types that are going to be weak against bug types, and they include psychic types, dark types, and grass types. These 3 types are actually pretty common when it comes to raid battles and even in PvP content, and if you have a bug type with bug type attacks, it's going to deal super effective damage. This is especially important in PvP because having yourself a really good bug type on your team could make your team a lot more well-rounded. And then of course, when it comes to PvE content, like with raid battles and gym battles, having a bug type in your roster can definitely allow you to deal some good damage. But of course, bug types also have a good number of weaknesses that you need to watch out for. They include flying types, fire types, and rock types. And yes, I totally recognize that when it comes to PvP, these 3 types are actually pretty common. But if you have yourself a Pokemon that counters any of these 3 types as they backup, then your bug types are going to be good to go. So now let's talk about those standouts that I mentioned earlier. When it comes to PvP content, there are plenty of bug types that you should not overlook. The first of which that I wanted to talk about is, of course, Charjabug. And let me go to it right here. I unfortunately do not have a Charjabug ready for PvP, but if you do have one that's good for PvP, then you're going to get yourself a lot of wins. This is a very powerful Pokemon. It seems almost tailor-made for the Great League. In terms of its stats, it has very bulky defense and HP, and also when it comes to its charge attacks, it has some that are very pesky. Yeah, this is a very powerful Pokemon for the Great League. It utilizes both bug type and electric type damage to give yourself a lot of type coverage in the Great League, and there's plenty of meta Pokemon that cannot deal with this Pokemon really well. Now, another PvP staple is, of course, going to be Buzzwole. Unfortunately, I do not have one that is ready for the Great League or Ultra League, but I really need to prioritize it because this Pokemon is incredible when it comes to the Ultra League. I really do think that a lot of players who utilize this Pokemon are definitely going to have an advantage against most of the players that are using just the meta Pokemon. The reason why I say that is because Buzzwole has the fighting typing alongside its bug typing, which means it's going to be really strong against Pokemon like Virizion, Cobalion, some of the common Pokemon that you see in the Ultra League. Yeah, this Pokemon is definitely really good. If you want to get ahead in PvP, then you should invest into a Buzzwole. It's definitely going to be really useful, especially in the Ultra League, which a lot of people consider to be the most difficult league within the Go Battle League. And a third PvP standout that I wanted to talk about is, of course, this boy right here. This is Galvantula. It's a Pokemon that I actually use quite a bit within the Go Battle League, especially when it comes to specialty cups. Like for example, any cup that involves the grass typing, this Pokemon is going to be really good if it is eligible. It is a very powerful Pokemon, and it also has access to one of the most powerful bug type charge attacks in the game, which is of course Lunge. And yeah, if you spam this move in PvP, you're going to deal a lot of damage, and you're also going to reduce their attack. It's really good. But yeah, now that we talked about the PvP standouts, let's now talk about PvE content, which I believe a majority of players care about more than PvP. The first of these is of course the Mega Evolution that we recently got, and that is Mega Heracross. What more can I say about this Pokemon? This is a very powerful Mega Evolution, especially because when it comes to fighting typing as well as the bug typing, it's considered top tier. In some cases, it will be the absolute best. In terms of bug typing, it is currently the absolute best Pokemon in the game, and when it comes to fighting types, it's definitely going to be a very powerful option. There are of course plenty of other Mega Evolutions that's going to deal more damage than Mega Heracross, but this Pokemon has one key advantage over those other Mega Evolutions, and that is the fact that this Mega Evolution is a lot tankier, which means it's going to last longer in battle. And when it comes to Mega Evolutions, that is actually a lot more valuable than how much DPS you can deal. So if you're considering using using this Pokemon over a Pokemon like, let's say, Mega Lopunny or Mega Blaziken when it comes to fighting types, that is definitely going to be the smarter option because this Pokemon is much tankier than those other two Pokemon. Now, another PvE standout, which unfortunately I still do not have, is going to be Volcarona. I currently have a 96% Larvesta, which I plan to evolve once I get the candies, and maybe by the time I do have enough candies, I'll have a much higher IV. The reason why IVs matter for this Pokemon is, of course, because it is a very solid raid attacker. When it comes to bug types as well as fire types, it's often considered top tier. And yeah, if you have yourself a good one, you should definitely invest into it. Of course, unfortunately, this Pokemon recently got outclassed by Mega Heracross, but Pinsir is another very solid bug type when it comes to PvE content. If you do not have the Mega Energy for Mega Heracross, then have a Mega Pinsir in your arsenal. That is going to be the next best option when it comes to bug type raid damage, and it's definitely one you should not overlook. I kind of have the reverse problem where I do not have the Mega Energy for Mega Pinsir, whereas I have plenty of Mega Energy for Mega Heracross, and that's really on me. I need to farm up the Mega Energy for this Mega Evolution because, first and foremost, I need to fill up the Mega Evolution Pokedex, and I do think it's a very useful Mega Evolution, regardless. And then finally, the last bug-type Pokemon that I wanted to highlight for this video is, of course, Scizor. This is often considered one of the best bug types in the game, mainly because it has incredible DPS, but it also has the Steel typing on top of its bug typing. That type combination actually synergizes really well. It gives this Pokemon a lot of resistances, and it also makes it strong against a variety of Pokemon. It also has a Mega Evolution, which I think a lot of players tend to forget about, and it also has a Shadow Form, which is going to give it a lot more DPS. This is definitely one of those Pokemon you should invest into, even though many players will say that it is currently outdated, mainly because of so many of the good bug types that have come out, but I still think it can hold its own. So yeah, there you go. These are some of the bug types that I wanted to talk about. I really do think that this is one of the most underrated types in Pokemon Go. A lot of people tend to think of bug types as just a bunch of trash Pokemon, like right here you see this Caterpie. It's incredibly easy to catch, and it's basically there just to give you Stardust and experience, which, yeah, that is true. There are plenty of trash bug types out there, but also, there are a lot of really good standouts, and if you invest into them, let's say with the Stardust that you get from catching all of these other bug types, yeah, you're definitely going to be good to go. They're really solid for both PvE and PvP content, and you should not ignore them. Have yourself a bunch of really good bug types in your collection, and definitely invest into them, especially if you want to get ahead in PvP and PvE. But yeah, in any case, that's going to be it for this video. Let me know your thoughts regarding the bug typing down below. Is there a particular bug type Pokemon that you use quite often? I would like to know which Pokemon that is. And yeah, let's have a great discussion. And thank you so much for making it to this point in the video. If you ended up enjoying it and found it to be insightful, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe if it's your first time here. And also don't forget that little bell so you can stay up to date on whenever I upload videos. And I want to give a quick shout out to every single patron on my Patreon. You make this channel content possible. If you want to support the Jinsula channel, the absolute best way to do so is by becoming a patron on my Patreon. If you become a paid member, you get a permanent spot on my in-game Pokemon Go friends list. So that means when it comes to stuff like remote raids or the friendship system, you can interact with me within Pokemon Go by becoming a paid Patreon member. So do consider joining. It's going to be in the links in the description below. And if you want to support my channel in a different way, you can do so by following me on social media. This is the free-to-play method for supporting the Jinsula channel, and all you have to do is go to the platforms that you see on screen, follow my handle @Jinsula, and let's interact over there. And yeah, that's going to be it for this video. I'm Jinsula, be safe, have fun, love yourself, and I'll catch you all later.